You just said, where is it?
I'll tell you why it's being cut. You want to know the top reasons it's being cut?
Pot him down again. You just asked me a question. I'm trying to educate you. You don't know how to listen because you have the attention span of a 5-year-old.
Brian, I wanted to say Merry Christmas. Oops, I forgot. Is that still racist? I can't keep track.
Who says that saying?
Anyway,
who says that saying somebody to somebody Merry Christmas is racist? Who said that?
The whole Democrat. You have to say Happy Holidays. Remember?
Okay. Well, who said that though? Okay,
but
who said that? Let's be
all
serious.
the talking heads.
Okay.
Anyway,
No. Hold on. You're the one who said it. Give me one prominent Democrat, anybody, an assemblyman, a mayor, a president, a congressman, a senator, that's a Democrat, that says saying Merry Christmas is racist. Go ahead, sir.
You had to do happy. I don't know specifically.
You don't know specifically. Then here's my advice to you. No. Wait. My advice to you is don't say something stupid unless you can back it up with somebody who actually said it. Okay, dude? Do you hear where I'm going with that?
Do you hear? Yes or no?
I asked you a question.
But I'm asking you a question.
No, I haven't. No, I haven't. You know what?
You never did.
I asked you where you heard it from.
Lying.
You're a liar. Name me one prominent Democrat that has ever said saying Merry Christmas is racist. I'm not asking you for a second time now. You name me one. You're the one who made the claim, not me. Name me one.
Yeah. Go. Okay, I don't have it off the top.
Okay, well, you're an idiot then. Okay. No, it's not. I'm not cutting you off. It's not a talking point. You're an idiot. You don't call into a show and claim that the Democrat Party is saying Merry Christmas is racist. And then when I asked you to name one prominent Democrat that has said it, you can't do it. You sound like a fool. So don't call into the show and say something that's not true. You sound like a buffoon. Now go ahead, and I hope you make a better point than the point you tried to make a minute ago.
Yeah, so my 2 points are, one, I'll give you both points, and I'll go ahead and let you listen, because I'll never be able to get them out. One.
No, you'll be able to get them out. Just don't say something that's not true. Okay.
I just love how the fact that Trump's health is now a concern when for 4 years Biden was sharpest attack.
Wait. Okay, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Where is your evidence that his health is great?
That Trump's health is great?
Yeah, you just said his hunky-dory. Did they release the actual records? Did you see them, sir?
Well, everyone said that Biden.
Let's focus on Trump. I'm not a doctor. You're right. I'm not a doctor. You're right. You just said, let's focus on Trump now, not Biden. Then I'm happy to get to Biden, okay? You just said Donald Trump's health is great, and you're glad it was cleared up. Where is your evidence? Did they release medical records to prove your point that Donald Trump's health is great? Did they release the records? Yes or no?
Did they release the records that said his health?
Do I stutter? Do I stutter?
Yes or no?
You just made,
sir. Yes or no?
Sir.
Ask you for a second.
Sir.
Did they release anything that said his health?
Did I make a claim on this show today that his health was in ruins? Did I do that? No. Let me help you out, sir, and be quiet when I make this.
Did.
Be quiet. Be quiet. Be quiet.
You said.
Be quiet.
Quote, because.
Pot him down. You're the one who just called into this show. And you just made the claim that Donald Trump's health is great. If you're going to make a claim like that, you actually have to see medical records. So I need you to focus, sir. Where is your evidence that Donald Trump's health is hunky-dory? Go ahead.
The same place you got your evidence that it's not. You just told Ron he didn't release it because his health is failing. Where's your
information? Let me ask you a question then. Yep, I'm going to answer. Now you need to shut up. Now you need to shut up because I'm going to respond to what you just said.
Okay.
What do you think Donald Trump's reasoning would be for not releasing his medical records? Go ahead. Give me one logical reason.
A lot of people in the world keep their medical.
A lot of people in the world. A lot of people in the world are not the president of the United States. Every president in the history of this country has released their medical records. So now I'm going to ask you again.
Joe Biden.
Now I'm going to ask you again.
Okay.
Give me one. Democrat MAGA. I need you to listen. Get the MAGA wax out of your ears and pay attention. You just made the claim that Donald Trump's health is hunky-dory. I want to know, number one, where is your evidence, which obviously you've proven you don't have. And number two, give me one logical reason why Donald Trump, if in fact he was in great health, why wouldn't he release his medical records like every other president? Tell me why.
Okay, so this test was yesterday, and he said yesterday night, late night, go ahead and release them. So
Have they been released? Have they been released? Caroline, hold on.
24 hours.
Caroline Leavitt held a press conference today. She knew that she was going to be asked about the MRI. What did they provide? I'll tell you what they provided, and I'll give you up to speed on the news, because clearly you're not. All they showed was a letter from a doctor. They did not show. Hold on. They didn't release.
Is that something?
No,
that's some evidence.
No, a letter is not evidence. Medical records are evidence. Anybody can write a letter.
You're saying there's doctors lying? The same doctor that was that said he's sharp as a tack?
A letter. Okay, so we can go back to Biden if you would like, sir. But Donald Trump, you're the one who made the claim. Donald Trump is currently the president of the United States. So what we're learning in this second claim that you made is that you have no evidence. Zero. And the point that I am trying to make is that the president has something to hide, just like the president not wanting to release the Epstein files, or the president treating Maxwell to a Club Med facility, because the president has something to hide, or the president not wanting to release his tax records, for example, for years. The reason why he does this, if it made Donald Trump look good, he would be the first person bragging about it and talking about it. The president has not released his medical records. They kept this MRI on the down low. And the reason why they've done that is because the president has something to hide. Also, you don't have to be a doctor to know that you don't give somebody an MRI for preventative measures. You give somebody an MRI.
Actually, you can.
Okay.
I've had it for preventative.
Okay, doctor. Okay, doctor. Find me one doctor that would say you give an MRI just for preventative measures. Okay. So now that we've established
one right now. It's called a CT calcium scan. It can scan your heart, which I had. And it's preventative.
So why didn't they? Why didn't they say that then?
Searching.
Okay, well, Donald Trump does have breasts.
No one does it for preventative.
Okay, so I will agree with you on this note. I stand corrected. There is a chance that Donald Trump might have breast cancer. So I do agree with you on that. It's preventative, and I don't have a problem with that. Okay, so now you failed on that one. What was the other statement
also,
you'd like to make?
A joke. Men can get breast cancer too.
What was the other statement you wanted to make?
Funny.
What is the other statement that you'd like to make? Because every time you call into the show, you sound like a complete imbecile that you are.
You completely overlooked, and you were so busy with your information. But
I overlooked what? What did I overlook? What did I overlook?
A top story in the New York Times, how he dodged a bullet with Tim Walz's corruption in Minnesota. Could you imagine if he was vice president, the corruption of this guy?
Where has that been proven?
400 whistleblowers came out.
Where has that been proven in a court of law?
New York Times.
New York Times isn't a courtroom. Where has that been proven in a court of law?
So New York Times just made this up.
I didn't ask you what newspaper. I didn't ask you. You're claiming that there was fraud and abuse. That is a crime.
And corruption.
And corruption. Sure. That's the claim. Forget about even somebody being convicted. Where are the charges? If there was overwhelming evidence, don't you think Republicans? Oh, they're coming.
He was on Face the Nation, and he said, I'm going to put all these people in jail.
All right, so let's talk about that. Okay, so first of all,
how come you didn't bring that up in your open?
Sure, because we had a kind of a bigger story today, sir. I know you
bigger than corruption of 400 whistleblowers and billions of dollars in snap money.
First of all. It has never been proven what you are saying. You are talking about an article and has been nothing has been proven. That's number one. Number two.
So do you say that's legitimate?
Number two.
Organization
I just pot him down again. Boy, you are sir, you're almost impossible to have a conversation with. You really are. You really need some help. First of all, that has not been proven anywhere. That's number one. Number two, the biggest story of the day is the Trump administration basically admitting that they committed war crimes and murder. That might be a little bit more important than your Tim Walz story that you're getting from the New York Times claiming that there was corruption. But I notice you never call into the show and you never talk about Donald Trump getting $1 billion in crypto. You don't talk about the fact that Donald Trump is named over 1,000 times in the Epstein files. You don't talk about the fact that Maxwell was sent to a Club Med facility, one of the biggest sex traffickers in the history of the world. You don't talk about any of that stuff. No. But you want to talk about Tim Walz because you're a partisan buffoon and none of that stuff has been proven. None. Zero. The Trump administration today, and Caroline Leavitt admitted that there was a second strike. It is against the law to attack a boat when there are survivors, and a second strike to kill people. But you see, you don't want to talk about that. You want to talk about some Tim Walz story. I guess my last question to you, sir, is, because you're so difficult to have a conversation with, because unfortunately there are so many people in this country like you that are obviously not very intelligent. You watch your Newsmax and your Fox News. You're extremely ill-informed, and you're a partisan buffoon. But I guess my last question to you is, when are you actually going to care what's happening in this country by the man who you voted for, Donald Trump? When are you going to care that you actually support an adjudicated rapist? When are you going to care that you support the guy in a $1 billion crypto scandal? When are you going to care that you support the 34-count felon? When are you going to care that you have this guy who is literally sending our own troops against American civilians? When are you going to care that he gave the biggest tax breaks to the top 1% in this country, $100 billion in a year? When are you going to care that he's taking food off the table and billions of dollars food stamps off the table and 20 million people off their Medicare? When are you going to actually care about any of that stuff, that you'll actually have the decency and the backbone to call in and say, hey, you know what, Brian, I was wrong. Well, I got some advice for you. Go ahead and worry about your Tim Walz scandal, and let's see where the chips fall where they may in a courtroom. But here's something yeah, you are, but you're forced to listen. You are. Pot him down again. Pot him down again. I'm not done talking yet. Donald Trump is a 34-count convicted felon. Donald Trump is a liable sexual abuser. That was proven in a courtroom. The day that Tim Walz is convicted of anything, then we can have that conversation. What do you think about that, jackass, as we pod you back up? What do you think about that?
Well, first of all, if you bring up something about Tim Walz, you can't do whataboutism. Well, what about Trump? What about Trump?
Not about whataboutism. No. I didn't do whataboutism. The first comment I made was he convicted? Was he charged? The answer was no.
He will be.
Said, okay, fine. So when that happens, then we can talk about it. Okay, dummy? That was my first response.
And you also said about everyone losing their snap. Did you see the?
I did not say everything you say is factually like you lie about everything. I never said everybody is losing their snap. I said that billions of dollars are taking away from Snap, and a lot of people are going to lose their snap. I never said everybody is. Are you capable of saying anything that's factually accurate? Literally everything that comes out of your mouth.
The stats on Snap, pre-Biden and post-Biden, went up tenfold on the recipients. What do you attribute that to?
So what are the actual numbers? What are the actual numbers? Tell me.
It went up by 400 million. No, 40 million. 40 million. I'm trying to look at my phone real quick.
Okay. So you're upset. So let's talk about that.
So you're upset. Why did it spike so much in 4 years? Talk about it.
I will gladly answer that question to show how stupid you are. You see, sir, when Biden took office, we were coming out of something called a pandemic. Many people lost their jobs. Many people lost their livelihood. Many people lost their bank account. I'm still answering your question, so shut up. People lost their jobs. They lost their money. They lost their livelihood. If you look at the job reports that have come out under the Trump administration, that's actually not helping either. So you're very concerned and you're very upset that Snap went up $40 million. Okay, let's talk about that.
No, 40 million people. Okay. 40 million people.
Okay, 40 million people. You said 40 million. Okay, let's just say 40 million people. So if you're concerned about that, if you're concerned about the spike of how many people that are on food stamps, then why aren't you concerned about giving $100 billion in tax cuts to the top 1%? Are you not concerned about that?
What about that? What about it? Like you can't
because you're not because
on that. You're like, well,
let me be very clear, and then I'll ask my question. If people are struggling and they qualify for food benefits, I see no problem with the government spending money.
I see that
I'm answering. You don't like the my answer, which is very, very simple. But if you care about people that are struggling and people that are losing their jobs, then you should care about the job numbers that come out, the private sector jobs, and unemployment numbers that have been rising under the Trump administration. So I answered your question.
What's unemployment?
I answered your question very directly. And now I'm asking you. Yes, I am.
If you take steps on COVID, I get it. So why are you still on that?
Sir, there are a lot of people in this country that are suffering, and there are a lot of people in this country that are still suffering, and it's getting worse under the Trump administration. Ask the farmers how they're doing, all the people that have lost their jobs because of these tariffs. And most people that are not partisan hacks like you are would say that we are probably headed towards a recession. Now, you don't like the fact that, excuse me, you don't like the fact that millions of people are on SNAP benefits, and you put out a claim of 40 million people. I don't even know those stats, so I don't believe a word you say. But even if that was true, you know what, sir? Even if that was true, why don't you talk about the biggest tax breaks for the top 1%? If you care about people that are struggling and you care about government wasteful spending, which it sounds like you're trying to make the case for that, then why would you justify Donald Trump giving the biggest tax breaks for the top 1%? Go ahead, answer that, please.
Yeah, I'm not for that either.
Oh, you're not for that either. But you don't seem to bring that. It is interesting, though. You don't seem to bring that up. You want to bring up allegedly 40 million people more that are now on SNAP. And by the way, there are a lot of different reasons for that. You're obviously not smart enough to understand that. But you don't want to bring up the fact that he gave the biggest tax breaks to the top 1%, and now he's making cuts to SNAP. So many of those people that are struggling, you don't seem to care about. You don't care about Donald Trump cutting SNAP benefits for millions of Americans. Do you have a problem with that?
Only if it's fraud. If it's fraud, yes, I have a problem with it.
If it's fraud, well, guess what? That's not what the Donald Trump administration is doing. They did not defy it.
How do you know that?
Because it's in the big and beautiful. Because I'm answering your question. Your problem is you don't know how to listen. You just said, where is it?
I'll tell you why it's being cut. You want to know the top reasons?
Pot him down again. You just asked me a question. I'm trying to educate you. You don't know how to listen because you have the attention span of a 5-year-old. You just said, where are the cuts coming from? It's in the big and beautiful bill, you stupid dumbass. It's in the bill. And it doesn't say that if there's just fraud, okay, just fraud, that they're taking away those benefits from people that are committing fraud. There's fraud everywhere. But I do find it very interesting, again, sir, that you care so much about fraud, so you claim. If you care so much about fraud, then why would you vote for Donald Trump? Why would you vote for the guy that takes gifts from terrorists? Why would you vote for the guy that has a $5.5 billion resort that's going to be built on land that support terrorism? If you care so much about waste and
is it illegal? Is he being convicted of that?
Has he been convicted? Yes, actually, he has been convicted. He's a 34-count felon. I didn't say waste and excuse me, sir. Nobody said waste and fraud was illegal. You seem to be very upset.
It is illegal, sir. It's illegal.
Sir, you seem to talk about government waste. Okay, yes, people that are committing fraud that are on health care or food stamps, yes, that is against the law. A very small percentage of those people are.
Thank you.
But you seem to care so much about wasteful spending. So my question to you is, if you care so much about wasteful spending, then why should be giving the top 1% $100 billion in tax cuts? Why do you never bring that up? Why don't you talk about Donald Trump playing golf at his resorts, which he's been doing for the last 4 or 5 days? Why wouldn't you talk about Kash Patel taking a jet for a booty call? Why wouldn't you talk about Donald Trump going to the Super Bowl and leaving at halftime? If you care so much about wasteful spending and you're so upset that all these people are on food stamps, then why would you vote for your orange-shirt leader who wastes more money than probably anybody that's ever been in office? Why wouldn't you complain about that?
I said I don't agree with the tax.
No, here's what you did. You didn't say that. You called up talking about Tim Walz. You called up complaining about how many people are on SNAP benefits. And the only reason why you would ever bring up Donald Trump is because I have to ask you. The reason why you don't bring it up is because you're a Trump mushroom gobbler. Have a nice day. 702-221-7283 is the number to call, by the way, if you want to be a part of the conversation. Again, that number is 702-221-7283. I have conversations with Trump supporters every single day. And it usually leads me down that same path. And that is a path of blaming the left for all their problems. That is the path where they're talking about wasteful government spending, but yet they will never criticize Donald Trump for anything. And ladies and gentlemen, I've had it with these people. I really have. Mushroom Herb, have you ever given a woman an orgasm? So I want to talk to you guys about your online life and privacy. And you know how sending a message an unprotected Wi-Fi is like yelling your secrets in a crowded room, right? Well, a VPN is like moving that conversation sort of like into a locked soundproof booth. That's what private internet access, or PIA, does. It encrypts your internet connection, hiding your IP address and protecting your personal information and everything you do from online hackers and others that are looking to exploit your private information. This important coverage obviously protects you from networks such as coffee shops, the airport, and even the Wi-Fi at your own house. So I've been using PIA myself. It's great. I love how simple it is. You just open the app, really, pick a location, say New York or even another country, and with one click, you're connected through a secure tunnel. Boom, total privacy. Also great for streaming, of course. Some shows or sports events are blocked based on where you live, but PIA lets you access content from 91 countries and all 50 U.S. states. That means you can watch what you want wherever you are. This includes your favorite streaming services such as Disney+, Netflix, even Hulu. And here's a big one. One subscription protects unlimited devices. Your phone, your laptop, your tablet, your TV, even your whole household is covered. Plus, PIA has a strict no logs policy that's been proven in court and verified by Deloitte. So they don't track what you do, period. So PIA is rated excellent on Trustpilot and signed up as a totally risk-free with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So how great is that? Protect yourself online. Grab 83% off plus 4 extra months free using my link, which is piavpn.com/PTL. Again, that's piavpn.com/PTL for the best online privacy deal out there. I've been using it daily, especially when traveling or working on public Wi-Fi. I've been traveling a lot lately, and it's one of the few tools I can honestly recommend to everyone.
One of the things that I just wanted to say, the only criticism about, when you debate somebody, and I know you get into it with you guys, he tries to insult you and you try to insult him. But I think, this is just my opinion, I want to see what you think. You got to be careful when you start talking about people's wives.
I didn't do that.
Or their family members and things like that.
I didn't do that. So what I was referring to, Herb, and by the way, when we had this 2-hour debate, I didn't bring up his family once. What we were referring to is somebody else that brought up his family. And then because she did that, he brought up her sexuality, called her a dyke, and then told her to lick schniz. The reason why I brought that up is because I think it's beneath anybody to attack somebody because of their sexuality. I never brought up his family. I never brought up kids or any of that stuff. The reason why I brought that up is because he carries himself and he talks about how he's such a wonderful Christian man and he's got his belief system and all that other stuff. It was beneath anybody, especially a Christian.
I think Herb's trying to cherry pick a comment and make a big deal
but
about it.
But I just want to correct Herb. I didn't bring up his family once.
Well, I thought you said to him, you are something about his wife.
Yes. So in the 2-hour debate, which is what we are discussing, I didn't bring up his family once. The reason why I brought that up in a joking fashion is because he was insulting a woman for, quote, licking schniz, which is a very weird insult. And I don't see anything wrong with doing that, no matter what your sexuality is. It's a really weird insult. And I said, maybe you should try it with your wife sometime. And by the way, I was being serious. Why wouldn't you want to please another woman, especially somebody that you love? So I don't think that's not an attack. Hold on.
Is he a problem with giving advice?
Herb, that's not an insult on his family. That's giving him advice and stop insulting people for wanting to please their partner.
I would think that would make you better friends.
Herb, doesn't that make any sense to you?
No, it doesn't, Brian. If I'm arguing with
Herb,
you,
what is the point? What's the point? Brian admitted he said it. It was a comedy.
And this is something else that Herb doesn't understand. That wasn't the debate. He called into a show He called into a show that I was already on. Okay. That was not
like a stalker.
That was not a debate. In the 2-hour debate or lack thereof, I didn't bring up his family once. So please move on to something else because I think
Herb, do you have anything to add to the conversation?
Please.
So wait, to help me understand, you were telling this guy Andrew to have his wife do that lick jizz. Is that what you were saying?
No, that's not what he was saying.
Okay.
He made a joke about the guy's wife, saying, since you're talking about schniz licking.
It wasn't even a joke about his wife.
Yeah,
I'm going to try to. I don't think Herb understands what we are saying here. So Herb, So Herb, I'm going to try to explain it to you one more time because I'm in a good mood. I'm in a good mood today. Okay, Herb.
Okay, me too.
Okay, Herb. He was in a conversation with a woman who happened to be gay. She brought up the fact that his wife has multiple kids with other men because the conversation was about Christianity. Okay, he got very upset. He called her a dyke, and then he said, "Go lick schniz." Okay, which is, by the way, very insulting. So it sounds to me when you're going to attack somebody for trying to please your partner that he probably doesn't do that with his wife. So I gave him a suggestion when he called in, not a debate. And I said, you should probably try that with your wife. She probably would enjoy it. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to please your partner. That's not an insult on his wife, and that's not an insult on his family. That was me trying to explain to him, wanting to please somebody you love. I would assume he loves his wife is not a bad thing. I would say that's a good thing. It's not even a joke about his wife. I think a lot of people laughed at it because it's true. I don't understand what part of that you. I don't
understand
Herb.
What Herb's point is. What's your point, Herb?
It boils down to. Let me tell you what it boils down to.
You not understanding anything?
Listen.
You having nothing better to talk about?
Listen. Why don't you listen?
Herb, I think you should
listen. You're not making any point. You're not making sense.
You're wasting my airtime, Herb.
All I'm saying is that it boils down to culture. Because I'm going to tell you, in the black culture, if you were to say something like that, whether it be in just any kind of way.
Okay. Andrew's not black. Okay. Andrew.
I have a lot of black friends, and we tease each other all the time, and I don't know what you're talking about.
Herb, do you please your wife?
See, that's what I'm talking about, right?
I don't think you do. Herb, have you ever pleased your wife?
Oh, you struck a nerve.
Herb, have you ever given your wife? Herb, have you ever? Herb, have you ever? Herb, have you ever?
I had a wife.
Herb, have you ever?
None of your business.
Herb, have you ever given a woman an orgasm?
Okay. Technically.
Okay, Brian. Let's
Mushroom Herb. Have you ever given a woman an orgasm? Herb, have you ever given a man an orgasm?
It's just gone.
It's not my business. Okay, I got
you know what, Herb? Your question, your point is just foolish. You're just being foolish.
Yeah.
And if you have something to add to the conversation or something that we could help, yeah. I mean,
we have the schniz caller of the day. Herb just hung up the phone. By the way,
thanks, Herb.
Notice how that ended the call. He wouldn't answer my question. That's very interesting. Very interesting.
Oh, but when you don't answer his question, Brian's not answering my question.
Yeah, very. By the way, I don't think Herb has ever given a woman an orgasm in his life. Let's go to Herb, my good friend Herb. Herb, what's going on, man?
Hey, Brian, thanks for taking my call. I appreciate that. I just want to tell the judge that I really appreciate the fact that as much as you're trying to get him to come out against the Trump administration and some of the rulings.
I'm not trying to do that.
And yes, well,
no, I'm not. I'm asking him legal questions.
Like it, but he's coming from a very judicial point of view. He's not showing any kind of bias or anything like that.
Right. I agree.
It's very difficult for you. It's very difficult for you
to
come from a unbiased perspective because you have such hate for the Trump administration.
So, Herb, what have we learned? Hold on, Herb. Hang on.
I just want to finish.
Okay, I'll let you finish, Herb.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so, Herb, what have we learned in this? And by the way, I agree with you. I don't think he's being biased at all. But what have we learned? We've learned that every person in this country has the right to due process. That is not what the Trump administration is doing. The judge also confirmed what we already knew. Donald Trump is a 34-count convicted felon. Herb, do you need any clarification there?
Don't need any clarification.
Thank you. Okay, so you've been trying. You support. Hard, so Herb,
he is not taking the bait. I really appreciate.
Herb, there was no bait, but I think we've learned in this conversation that you voted for a 34-count convicted felon and somebody that is breaking our Constitution and ripping it into pieces, that is not giving people due process. Herb, I wish you were smart enough to understand that, but that's okay. Herb, thank you very much for the phone call.